Hello my tarot friends. Today I'm doing another collection type of videos and I'm going to share my animal based decks today. When I say animal based, I mean decks where the animals are the main characters of the deck. I have many decks that feature animals, but these ones are the ones that are focused on the animals specifically. I have tarot decks to share with you. I have some oracle decks to share with you. I think altogether I have 14 decks to show you today. And I have to say that a year ago, I literally probably had just one animal deck. And then suddenly they just started calling to me. And I don't know, I love animals, so it makes sense. So my first deck that I'm going to share with you today is the Brady Tarot. I absolutely adore this deck because it is such a real and raw deck. When I share the decks with you today, I'm going to try to point out things that I love about the decks. I'm going to try to point out things perhaps that I don't like or something that I find challenging. I'm going to talk about how the deck reads, and I'm also going to show you how each deck shuffles, because this is something that I find became really important to my tarot practice in the recent years. So yes, this is the Brady Tarot, second edition. It is absolutely amazing. I love this deck so much. It's hard to put in words. What I love about it is the fact that it is very raw. The animals are shown in their natural environments and they act like animals. And there is so much hidden symbolism in each card, even though when you look at it, you wouldn't think, but there's so much that you can discover every time that you use this deck. For example, we have an owl here who sees in the dark, right? So perfect for the high priestess. We have the triple moon here. We have sage burning, which is a very spiritual cleansing tool. We have the veil. We have behind the veil, we have the moon that kind of appears black and white. We have the snow. We have the feathers that we could talk about. I think we have a crystal. Is that? No, it's another animal. We have another animal here that I never noticed before. See, and every time I use this deck, you discover something new. I really love it. So we have a mouse here, and we know that mice are natural food for the owls. So it's absolutely gorgeous. I love the feeling of the cards because it is the rose petal finish. I love the gilding or the edging of these cards. It's this matte gold, which is gorgeous. I love the guidebook. It's amazing. It's written by Rachel Polak, who sadly passed away recently. It is just so good, this deck. It's raw, it's real, it tells you like it is, it doesn't sugarcoat things. I love the keywords actually, although some of the keywords, when you see them, you might think, oh, this doesn't really align with the way I read tarot, but actually, if you look into the guidebook and you take time to read what it says, you will realize actually it does. You know, it's so good. It's so much better than you would think if you just look at the cards. So much better. There's so much hidden symbolism, the colors. And another thing I love about this deck is the fact that so much labor went into it. Each of these cards was lino cut, then it was printed, and then it was hand painted with watercolors, which I also adore. I love watercolors. So yeah, it's just so good. The guidebook, let me just show you quickly the guidebook in the second edition. It's beautiful as well. You have this little prints in the book. You have so much in this little guidebook. It's amazing. Amy Brady is right now working on her, or it's already completed, her third edition of this deck, which is going to come with a bit thinner cardstock, and it's going to be on a black core, which means it's going to shuffle even more beautifully. This deck shuffles, these are the backs. This deck shuffles so well anyway, so overhand is nice. And you can also riffle shuffle it, but it is a bit harder, but I'm going to show you. It's a bit hard, but you can do it. And another thing that is happening is the new third edition is going to come with extended guidebook, which I'm so excited about because apparently Amy is going to go even more into the symbology of each card, and I'm so excited about that. So yeah. I also have or had the first edition of this deck, which I gave to my partner because I said to myself, I don't need 3 editions. So I have the second edition, which has this luxurious type of cardstock that the first edition also has. And I'm going to get a third edition, which is going to have more flexible cardstock. So I decided I'm going to use this one for myself, and I'm going to use the third edition for the people I read for. So yes, this is the Brady Tarot. Next deck that I absolutely adore, and I also have 2 copies of, is the Naked Heart Tarot. Now this is a combination of the 3rd edition guidebook and the 2nd edition cards and the 3rd edition box. So why I use the 2nd edition is very interesting. So I got a 2nd edition first. So these are the backs. It was a used edition, which somehow added to the charm of the deck. So I connected to it more, I suppose. And some of the cards are changed, not much. Like there's slight changes, like the way that the characters are turned, the animals are turned. The only one that really changed is the Ace of Swords, which you can see here. Now the Ace of Swords is a black swan, which is also gorgeous. The cardstock stayed the same. Here I think it's like a raven on one of the swords, like small changes. And the naming of the cards, of the court cards, changed. So here we have child, youth, mother and father. And in the newer one we have Innocence of Pentacles for the page, Movement for the knight, Heart for the queen, and Spirit for the king. I'm going to talk about guidebooks in a second. So anyway, I love this deck so much because it is not busy and the messages come through very intuitively. I mean, for the 2 of Cups, I love, you have 2 hearts who are connected. Synchronicity between 2 hearts. It's like so much you can read about, like 2 waves coming together and then going apart. It's like, it's so good. It's so good. The colors are beautiful. I think that in the 2nd edition, the colors are actually more vibrant. This is funny. The Magician card always reminds me of Fiona from the Shrek. Like this thing, I think this is her eye. I don't know why. Just I can't get it out of my head. In this card, I know that the Aquarius symbol is a bit smaller, so it kind of more aligns with the rest of the sizes of these symbols here. Yes, let me just show you the 3rd edition guidebook. So the 2nd edition guidebook is more traditional, so you have the meanings of the cards, and it's really thick. It's like 3 times the size of this one. It's amazing. Like if you're a beginner, that guidebook is amazing. This one, on the other hand, is so caring. So let me read you, let me read you a challenging card, maybe 8 of Cups. Let's say 8 of Cups, because it's hard to walk away from things, right? So you would always have an animal familiar in this guidebook as well, which I really love. So you would have the keywords: discovery, new truth, emotional freedom. And then you have the Naked Heart message. I always have the option to walk away from anything that does not resonate with my heart. I was born from love, and it is my birthright to stay aligned with the feeling. I can choose to explore a new journey and discover what aligns with my truth, because what aligns with my truth will always feel deep and meaningful and will serve my soul. Do you see how caring this deck is, or this guidebook is? It's beautiful. And then we have Bare Familiar Whispers. All the strength you need comes from within. So every animal is chosen for a specific card with the reason. If you just look at this deck, you might think it's random, but it's not. It's like really intentional. And then you also have a hard disconnect, so reversed meaning on the bottom. I ask myself, is it possible that things are not shifting because my perspective remains the same? So this deck comes from within. Like this deck is not going to be read as in the Mother of Pentacles is somebody else. I just think that this deck really connects to the person you read for, so everything stems from them, which technically you can retro as you like, but personally I really think that the cards connect with the person you read for, so it's their perception of that person. Does that make sense? So even like cards like 5 of Swords or 7 of Swords, which often is read as somebody else is doing something to you. Let's read the 7 of Swords, just because I'm curious how it sees it in this guidebook. Swords, there we go. So, choice, integrity, honesty. When I'm faced with a choice, I choose to act with integrity so I can trust the choices I make, no matter what the outcome may be. I know I acted honestly. I'm only responsible for doing my best, and I cannot control other people's perceptions, actions, or reactions. If I see I made a mistake in my choice, I give myself permission to learn and grow and accept myself for being human. I also get to choose to do the right thing and make amends. Do you see what I mean? It comes from the person you read for, or if you read for yourself, it comes from within you, which is beautiful. It's such a self-caring deck. I love it so much. Oh, shuffling. I don't have any complaints about this deck, like literally zero. shuffles so nicely. So yeah, this was the Naked Heart Tarot. Okay, next I have the Northern Animal Tarot. This is the deck that I recently viewed, so if you'd like to check that out, you can find it there. This deck is so good. Oh my god, it's amazing. It is amazing. What can I say? So I talked in depth about this deck. So it's beautiful, the colors pop, it is a really good reader, it follows the Rider-Waite-Smith really well, so it's really easy to read. You have deep messages within it if you want to go deep, and if you don't want to go deep, you can just stick to your own messages for the cards because it is so similar to Rider-Waite-Smith. I love the court cards, I love the eyes in the court cards specifically. I love the cardstock. I love everything about this deck. Again, no complaints about this one, zero. This deck is deep if you want it to be deep, and it doesn't need to be deep if you don't want it to be deep. This is one of my favorite moon cards of all time. I talk deeply why in my review of this deck, which is very long, 1.5 hours, which tells you how much I have to say about this deck. So I'm not going to go in depth here, but I love everything about this deck. It is amazing. This is the 3rd edition, so it is on this beautiful linen cardstock. It smells nice. The backs are gorgeous. The thickness is just right. It shuffles like a dream, which you will see right now. Even though it is linen, it doesn't slide everywhere. You know, like linen cards, they always slide. If you put them like this, they just start sliding. This one doesn't slide. The same as the Magical Creatures Tarot also doesn't slide. So yes, the guidebook as well is really lovely. It is not too long, like it's not as long as the Magical Creatures Tarot, but it is written well. Like, I love it. There's no faults in the guidebook either. That is funny because I'm talking about the shadows. So I said I'm going to be speaking about things I love and things I don't love about decks, but actually now going through them, like most of these decks I just love. So I'm not sure if I'm going to be speaking about not loving anything. This is a mass market deck. The previous ones were all indie decks. So this one is Tarot of Pagan Cats. I always want to say Pagan Cat Tarot. So this is Los Carbeo deck. It is the best cat deck in my opinion on the market. It is really good. Like, it reads so well. If you read Rider-Waite-Smith, this is perfect. To me, it's even better than the Rider-Waite-Smith because you have these cats that act like cats, but at the same time they have enough human behavior in them, let's say. This is the Heartwood card, and we see this big gray cat that is obviously overpowering over these two small cats. And it's kind of with his mind, he's controlling all the elements, and he's teaching these cats how to use the elements, perhaps. You know, it's so good. You can go really deep with this one if you want to. And some of the cats are just funny. I don't know. I love this one on the owl, like the Knight of Swords. You know, very swift movement. Like, you can feel the movement in the cards. It's also beautiful. It was also the guidebook was written by Barbara Moore, even though it doesn't say, but it was written by her because she talks about it in one of her interviews. It is just gorgeous. It's funny, it's gorgeous, it's amazing. The only fault, there we go, first fault here is that we know that the Los Carbeo guidebooks are not very deep, right? So you will have it in multiple languages. I know they started to change this now in the newer decks, but you know, you don't get much. You get like literally few lines for each card. So that's the only fault that I can find. Yeah, let me show you how it shuffles. So overhand beautifully. I love this cardstock. I mean, it's a little bit thin, but it's very durable and it's very shuffleable. Let me show you the riffle shuffle. Beautiful. Amazing. So yeah, this is Tarot of Pagan Cats. Look at that, the Ace of Cups. And if we're going through themes of, like, it's just one animal, since we started with this one, let me show you the next one, which is Raven's Prophecy. I keep it in this bag because it just goes so well with it. So this deck is very interesting. What I love about it is that it is a bit more shadowy. It is very intuitive. I wouldn't say it is amazing for beginners because I feel like you kind of need to understand the principles of each card and perhaps the theories behind it, even the esoteric knowledge behind it. If you have all that baseline of knowledge, it is very easy then to dive deep within your subconscious and use your intuition. This deck is gorgeous. I actually don't mind the orange borders because I feel if you take them off, it becomes a bit too dark because there's a lot of black color in these cards. I remember when I got it and I had a few readings with it, and they were so powerful and profound, and even though the pictures seem minimal, there is a lot you can go into, if that makes sense. For example, this Two of Coins. Oh, also, let me show you the guidebook. Since I'm giving you an example of Two of Coins, I'll show you how deep you can go. So it comes with this great guidebook. Llewellyn decks always have great guidebooks. This one, unfortunately, because it's a bit older deck, doesn't have full colorful pictures, but it's still amazing. So we go into Two of Pentacles. We have keywords, so priorities, balance, change. This card has a lot to do with that saying, time is money. It is about balance and priorities. A lot of tarot art shows a man juggling on this card because that's what it feels like. After the first blush of opportunity displayed on the Ace of Coins, things are starting to get a little complicated. You're feeling the pressure of balancing career with family, or perhaps having a hard time prioritizing multiple career concerns. The key here isn't so much about choice. You're not being asked to shed any of the things that you're balancing. The Two of Coins is about being flexible, willing to change and shift in order to accommodate the multiple demands put upon your time. Rather than stripping down to what you can handle right now, consider what can change to allow yourself to adequately tend all your concerns. And then you're thinking, okay, but what about these two roses? And that's the beauty. You also have the explanation of the card of the art. So the art shows two rosebuds of equal size. A gardener could snip one bud off to allow a single bud to flourish more easily, or it could tend and feed the plant so that the bush can support both buds at once. The Two of Coins encourages you to do the latter. You see, it's such a good guidebook. A really, really great guidebook. So yes, this is the Raven's Prophecy Tarot. It is so good. I love it so much. Look at this beautiful Nine of Cups. These cards create a feeling in your chest. And if you're good at expressing your feelings, you're going to really like this deck. If you're not good at expressing your feelings, perhaps this deck is not for you, basically. Okay, let me show you how it shuffles. This is the older Llewellyn cardstock. Right now, they're changing their cardstock and it's a bit less thick. It's not glossy, but it's not as durable, I think. The riffle shuffling, it looks like this. Amazing. I really like Llewellyn's older cardstock. So yeah, this was the Raven's Prophecy Tarot. Oh, Six of Cups. Look at that. Do you see? It looks so beautiful together. Okay, this next one is also an indie deck. This is The Way of the Panda Tarot. I didn't plan on getting this huge guidebook with it, but then I saw it on eBay for £5 and I was like, yeah, sure, I'm gonna get it. It was used copy, but it's amazing. Look at that. It's such a big guidebook and it's incredible. So let me just talk about the deck first. I love how it opens. I got this deck on the website called Little Red Tarot. It is an amazing online tarot and oracle and everything else divination shop in the UK, where the prices are amazing. And for example, this one had damaged box. I mean, tell me, where is it really damaged? Not really. There's like a little thing here, but that's it. And I got it 50% off. So I got this deck for £25, which is crazy because this deck is very expensive otherwise. It has this beautiful edging in green, amazing backs. This is actually the second edition. I think second edition, and then she released another edition that has like foiling on the backs. Anyhow, this is a Panda deck, obviously. This guidebook is amazing. I love this guidebook. It is a really good reader. It is a bit more gentle, I'd say, than every other deck that I've shown so far. I love how Kim decided to portray some of the cards. For example, this Justice card is just so funny, isn't it? Like, you establish the boundaries and you're not gonna let anyone pollute your energy, you know? Because it's like this dark gray energy this panda is bringing, and this panda's like, nope. Which I like. I love it so much. And what I like about this deck is that if you get this big guidebook with it, each panda has a name and a character. So when you work with this deck, it feels like you're having a conversation with these different pandas that each bring their personality in and advice. So I'm going to show you an example in the guidebook just so you get a feel for it. Of course, it's gorgeous. It's beautiful. The cardstock is very, very similar to the Naked Heart Tarot, so I absolutely love it. I love the white space. That's another thing that I didn't knew I loved, the white space on the cards. I really like it. I love that they're whimsical, they're funny, but they're serious at the same time. I love the panda energy. I think that Kimberly is creating an oracle deck with pandas that is going to be launched on the Kickstarter very soon, so check this out. Oh, nice. This is one of my favorite devil cards of all time. Isn't it powerful? It's just so great. So let me just show you the shuffling first, and then I'll show you the guidebook. So it shuffles beautifully. I love it so much. Let me show you the riffle shuffle, which is also very nice. It's maybe a little bit harder than the Naked Heart Tarot, but very similar. Maybe that's because of the edging. But let me just show you the guidebook. Oh, again, no faults in this deck, 0. So the guidebook here is like shorter, but really cool messages. For example, 6 of Pentacles. Let's read 6 of Pentacles here and then in the guidebook. So, don't worry about paying me back. I have enough bamboos to share. Take the bamboo. Now go do something useful. Repay me by paying it forwards. Let's show up for the world in our own ways together, because we are pandas, and pandas always help each other. And then you have light and shadow. Light attributes, contribution, charity, championing others, sharing, and then shadow, gullibility, unfair exchanges, conditional giving, exploitation. And then let's look at the 6 of Pentacles in the guidebook. Yeah, in the majors, with every card you get also a spread, which is amazing. This is something similar that Chris Ann did in her guidebook for light seers. So let's go to the 6 of Pentacles, 7, 6. So here you can see it's a lot, right? So 6 of Pentacles, this is minor arcana, and you get 3 pages. So I'm not going to read it because it's a lot, but if you want, you can pause it and read yourself. But I also love that little mantra there. So 6 of Pentacles, I help you, you help me. Let's be best brads and rise together in grand cosmic oven. So it's kind of like funny but serious at the same time. It's very cynical, I would say, the same way that the author is in her newsletter, if you are subscribed to that. So this is the other side. So this was Way of the Panda Tarot. Incredible. Right, let's go to the 3 decks that I will show one after another because they kind of come together. So the first one is the Heartwood Tarot, which I adore. I love this deck so much. So it comes with extra cards, and the guidebook is basically on these 2 cards. You also get the electronic guidebook, which I don't use because I don't like using electronic guidebooks. These decks are chunky, but they just feel so good. I love this deck so much. It's kind of like a story. The animals are the main characters, but the main characters is this little mouse that goes around this cottage in the forest. It is very intuitive. It is very different. It is very smart, this deck. I love the cardstock. I love the backs. I love everything about this deck. I love all the cards. There's not one card I don't like. If you know Rider-Waite-Smith, it's going to be very easy to find meanings in these cards, although they don't look traditional, so they're reimagined, which I also love because the deck that I'm going to show you next, which is Oak, Ash and Thorn, is very Rider-Waite-Smith. This one, I feel, is like the next level. So Stephanie, she took the animals and she reimagined each card, which I really appreciate. So it is just so cozy, but at the same time, it's a very shadowy deck as well, which I love. So this deck, I feel, is a perfect balance of shadow and dark. So if you want to use it as a shadow deck, you can do that. If you want to use it just as a normal everyday deck, you can do that. It's very nice. It's very readable. It's beautiful. It's very powerful. I remember I did readings for others and they were really shocked because it looks so cute and sweet, how deep the readings actually were. So I love this magician. It's so smart because, as a magicians traditionally were pulling the rabbit out of the hat. So isn't that awesome? Like white rabbit out of the hat. So we have the white rabbit here as the magician, and he's controlling these orbs with his mind. It's so cool. And this one, I love how she reimagined this one, 8 of Wands. Because you would think, oh, this is 8 of Cups, but no, it's Wands. And 8 of Wands is all about movement. It's all about swiftness and that flow of energy, right? And I love there is the sun there, that fire that actually comes through, even though we have water here and fish. And also fish represent abundance, so good things coming your way, right? So it's so layered if you look into it. And also some cards are connected, which is amazing. So this mouse here is actually in the same positioning in the Temperance card. So you see, it's like, it's so layered. You wouldn't think, but actually there's many connections. And it's also connections with the Thistle Down. So I'm going to do a video separate where I'm going to explain and show all the cards that bind together from both decks. But yeah, this is amazing. So no faults in this deck at all. It shuffles beautifully. I'll show you the river shuffle as well. Okay. Beautiful, beautiful shuffle. It's 400 GSM, but because it's like this eco-friendly paper, it has to be thick, otherwise it wouldn't shuffle well. So yes, this was Heartwood Tarot. So this is the Oak, Ash and Thorn from the same creator. And this deck is also gorgeous, 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 gorgeous. It comes with this one extra card, and again, these cards that have short meanings on them. So this deck is very Rider-Waite-Smith. Although it does, actually now looking at it, there are some differences, but very, very Rider-Waite-Smithy. So it's very easy to read. Again, you can go deeper with this deck. You have different animals for different suits, which I appreciate. So you have squirrels for the cups. You have hares for the pentacles. I love this. You have crows and ravens for the swords, or just crows. You have foxes for the wands. And you have different animals for the major arcana. It's just beautiful. It's just gorgeous. It's comfy. It's beautiful. It's a really good reader. It is just, it teleports into this world that you wish existed, or it does exist within you from your childhood years. At least that's how I feel about this deck. Oh, I love this Two of Swords. It's just so gorgeous. Oh my god. Yeah, so yeah. No bad stuff about this deck at all. 3 trees to row. Perhaps the only thing that I would maybe change is it would be really nice if they all had a physical guidebook as well, because personally I just can't use my phone when I'm reading cards. I just can't. Oh, shuffleability. Did I do this? Yes. So overhand beautifully. This is the first edition, by the way. I have first edition of all their decks that are going out of stock now, but there are second editions already available. So it shuffles like a dream as well. Love this. And let's go to the last but not least of the 3 trees to row decks, which is actually Thistle Down. This is an oracle deck. This oracle deck goes really well with all their decks because it features all the animals and creatures you can find in all 3 decks. I also have their, this is the back. I also have their dragon deck, which I absolutely adore. We have different animals in this ones. We have really nice keywords. It just works really lovely together. It's a good clarifier. You can use the cards also as the beginning of the reading, so like you choose a theme. It's just really wonderful. I use it with all 3 decks, and I like that it's a bit smaller. Their next deck is actually going to be focused on a little spider that I think first appeared in this deck, which I'm very excited about. So yes, no faults in this one. Shuffles again beautifully, always, as all their decks do. The second edition, unfortunately, in my opinion, has borders. I really wish, oh, that's another thing that I wish, that all their decks were borderless. I really wish so. Okay, now let's go to one of my all-time favorite decks ever, which I have 4 copies of, which is mad, but I do. So I have 2 first editions, which are different. I'm going to talk about it. I have a 3rd edition. I also have Mass Market edition that I gave to my partner because he loves it, and I don't need that many, let's be honest. So let me firstly talk about these two editions. So this is the first edition, indie, out of print from years ago. I don't know when I can't remember. But yeah, as you can see, there's like the difference. This is the first edition that was printed in the US. This is, I think, the 2nd or 3rd print that was printed in China. And then there's another one that I also had, which is printed or was printed in Hong Kong. But I sold that one because I didn't need as many. And also the cardstock differs a little bit from all of them, which is very interesting. And also look, the box opens a bit differently. This one has a bit longer ribbon. There's like small changes that a nerd like me notices. So I'm just gonna show you real quick the differences. So this is on the right side, we have the first edition. On the left we have the first edition, second printing. So the difference is in shuffling. So the first edition is a bit more softer on the edges, and it just feels so good in the hands, and overhand they both shuffle beautifully. Show you this one, but this one has a bit, I think, stiffer cardstock, and also it doesn't feel as soft on the edges. Let me show you the riffle shuffle of the first edition. Did you see that? It's beautiful. A lot of people talk about how this first edition is very stiff. Not that the first print of the first edition is not stiff at all. You saw it. I'm going to show you the second print, how it shuffles. Still good, but it's a bit more clumpy. The Hong Kong one was even more clumpy. That's why I sold that one. And let me show you the third edition. I'm going to show them side by side so you can see the differences. So we have different backs with this one. I love the backs of the first edition so much more. The mass market has the same backs. Let me show you the shuffling. The cardstock is a bit thinner, but because it was not cut as nicely, it's even sharper than the second print. It clusters a little bit more when you shuffle it. Now, the third edition, no, sorry, not third, I always say third. The second edition, this is the second edition, this is first edition, but it's second print. So the second edition has a bit more brighter background, but it is not as white as the third edition, which is mass market is. There we go, perfect. So this is the first change here. So we have, and this one is also different. So I have like, I think 5 or 6 or something like that cards that are different. I personally prefer the first edition to the second, but saying that, they read very differently, which is very interesting. They just read differently. This one is more chatty and more happy, and this one is more serious. It's very interesting. So that's why I'm like, why do you have the second edition if you have 2 first editions already? Because of that. So I have one first edition as a backup, and then I read with this 2 in different ways because they read differently. It's very interesting how the same deck with just few different cards can read so differently. So yes, this is the Wild Unknown, one of my favorite decks of all time. It is incredible. This deck is so good. It's just so good. I showed you the shuffling already, but what I do want to show you though is the oracle that comes with it, which is also amazing. So this is the Wild Unknown Animal Spirit Oracle. I also have an indie edition. It goes so well together with the tarot deck, as you can see. The cardstock is the same as the second edition, and you have this foiling happening, but in the mass market edition, the foiling is more bright. And I think the backgrounds are also more white, just like in the mass market tarot edition. So I love, 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 love this deck so much. In all ways, I love them so much. I love that you have so many animals. I love the guidebooks. I know that people complain about the guidebooks, but I love the guidebooks. And as you can see, the second edition goes really well together with the oracle from the backs. I don't know if you can see, but there's foiling at the backs as well, which is really sweet. But let me just show you the guidebooks, which I love. I know people say that the guidebook for the Wild Unknown is not as amazing as they wish it would be, but I really like it. I also have the indie versions of the guidebooks. They're a bit smaller than the mass market. So let's firstly look at the Animal Spirit guidebook. I love it so much because you have suits, first of all, and some animals you wouldn't connect maybe to the suit, but they do make sense. The way Kim Kranz explains the suits and everything in this book is really cool. So I feel like this deck, you need to take time with it, because if you just want to read it as a normal oracle, like quick, instant type of oracle, you can, but I think it's worthy to go into depths of this. So you have this beautiful card on the left, and then there's not much in it, but it's enough. And I love that you have when in balance and when out of balance, and it's a very yogic centered deck, which I personally love because you have chakra system that is connected to the colors. And I read I read my colors that way. So that to me speaks really deeply to my soul. So I love this deck so much. And then if you look at the tarot guidebook, Eight of Cups again, let's read it. So Eight of Cups, stagnation, ill health. The Eight of Cups sends an urgent message to pack your bags and move on. There is no hope of rekindling what's been lost. You must start anew. This card also points to phases of illness and physical stagnation. The message could not be more clear. Nothing good remains for you here. Lift your eyes to the horizon and let your feet lead you forward. Do you see? It's good. Like, I don't know why people are like, oh, it's not. I really like it. The guidebook is traditional enough, but it also gives a little of its own spin. Like, Kim gives her spin to the cards, which I really appreciate. And yes, it is not very long, but the guidebook doesn't need to be long to be good. I'll show you an example of this when I talk about my Rider-Waite-Smith base decks and I come to the Feldcraft Tarot, which has haikus for the guidebook. And they say in few words, you get the whole card there. So again, length of the guidebook to me does not mean quality. It can, but it doesn't necessarily mean that. So let's move on. I went on a little rant there. And let's go to the next oracle deck. This is the Chinese 5 Elements Oracle. It's published by Hay House. It is a very thick deck, as you can see. It is an incredible deck. I think the art is beautiful, so beautiful. And if you are not familiar with the Chinese zodiac, this is a really, really great way to learn about it. It's amazing. There's numerology with these numbers as well, at least in my opinion. The cards are gorgeous. You have animals that are at the front. So you have animals and elements mixed together. So you get all the pillars of the Chinese zodiac. So yeah, I really like this deck. I love that you have the animal and then you have a little message. So wood sheep, nature is your healer, earth tiger, breaking through the barrier. And then the guidebook is incredible to me. So let's look at the water horse, 19. So we have a path to independence, the same as you have on the card. And then it talks about the water horse, what it means, what it represents, an element related to this card, and then the meaning of this card, and then message from heaven. Message from heaven is the water, so water horse. So here we have water, where it talks about water, and message from earth, it talks about the animal. So fire is usually related to the horses, so it talks about that. It's beautiful. It's just so good, and it's actually really intuitive as well. If you take your time to actually look at the cards and what they represent, it's amazing. There's lots of details there. I really love this deck. I think personally that this deck is very underrated. Like, I feel when it came out, people were talking about it, and now no one talks about it anymore. These are the backs, which are beautiful because I love dragons, and we have a dragon here. They're not reversible, but I don't mind. Yeah, it's just so good. Let me just show you how it shuffles. So this is a bit thinner card stock, and I like that because it is so many cards. I think 60 cards, so that's a lot. Usually Hay House has oracle decks that have, I think, 42, 45 cards. So overhand beautifully. It smells really good, and it riffle shuffles like a dream. Look at that. So it's really soft. Like, I wish the Witch's Wisdom was on the cardstock like this, because it's just much more easy to handle. This was the Chinese 5 Elements Oracle. Amazing. It's such a gem. I really, really, really highly suggest this deck. The next deck is the Woodland Wardens. This deck also comes, in my opinion, on amazing cardstock, which I really like. This deck is gorgeous. There are associations with tarot meanings as well in these cards. You have the medicine of an animal, the medicine of the plant, and a combination of both together. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie, I struggled a little bit with this deck because personally I'm not sure, like, if you have a medicine of the animal and medicine of the plant, you can both have in shadow and dark, and the combination of both can be then 4 different combinations. So shadow, dark of animal and plant, shadow, dark of plant and animal, and then light of animal and plant, and dark of animal and plant. So because of that, I a bit struggled with meanings. So I started reading this a bit more intuitively and just using the keywords. So for example, here we have romance, innocence. And so I would use the keyword and try to then intuitively understand why the creator chose hope here. Does that make sense? The guidebook is good, but to me, I don't know, I find it a little bit confusing just because, I mean, it is the creator's way of choosing exactly which lights and shadows to put together and present in the guidebook. But what I like about it is the questions here, and you have upright and reverse meanings. But yeah, some of the cards, not all of them. A lot of them make a lot of sense in the guidebook to me, but some of them don't, and that put me off a little bit of using it, even though it's absolutely gorgeous. It also shuffles like a dream, which I'm going to show you now. So overhand is wonderful, and then this way is also great. And I know that Jessica is coming. Jessica is releasing a tarot deck as well that is coming soon. I'm not sure if I'm going to get it or not. I will wait for a few walkthroughs and then decide. But yes, this was the Woodland Wardens. I would say this is my least favorite animal deck that I have, really. This is Spirit of the Animals Oracle. This is a gorgeous deck that the only fault I have for it is that it is too big in my opinion. It's enormous. Look at that. I have relatively small hands, but still, this is huge. So you can shuffle it. I barely can shuffle it this way. You can shuffle it this way, but still I don't like shuffling this way. And you can riffle shuffle it. I'm gonna show you now. But then it creates a little bow, which I don't like. Anyway, beautiful backs. Oh, Orca, my favorite. This deck is absolutely stunning. It's just so beautiful. I love that you have an animal, you have keywords, so higher calling, and then you have a little message here. So you have within you all the courage you need. Let go of the past and reclaim your mastery. You will find success and contentment with those by your side. Make noble choices for your life and your tribe. So then if you read this, you can take whatever resonates within your reading with this. And it is it's just so beautiful. I love it. So let's look for the lion. Let's look in the guidebook just to see the differences, right? It goes in the alphabetic order. So in the guidebook, you get more keywords. Here you just have one, but here you have confidence, bravery, power, leadership, majesty, business, pride, patience, enthusiasm, rising sun, passion. So you have a lot more keywords. So if you wanted to, you can just use these, or you can go on the other side. And then you have questions here, which is amazing. And you have more here, so just read it for yourself. I'm not going to read because otherwise this video is going to be way too long. But you can see that it goes in even more depth, which I love. So this is a really, really great deck. Let me just show you a few more images. It's absolutely beautiful. You have different animals for every card, which I appreciate. You also have a card where you can imagine your own animal here, or you could imagine your spirit guide if you wanted to. I love the variety of animals we have here. It's really, really great. I really like this deck. I use it as a clarifier at the end of the reading. That's how I love using my decks. But I also use it as a daily pull. You know, just like, what is the energy of today? Or what is something that I should pay attention to? Or what should I embody today? You know, what would help me get through this day in the most successful way? Please tell me which energy I should embody to do that. Does that make sense? You also have a unicorn. Yay. I love that. Oh, and I love that we have another whale. So we have orcas, we have humpback whales, which are one of my favorites. And we also have dolphins. And I love that we have snow leopards. I love snow leopards. And of course, fox is my spirit animal. So I love that. I see frogs. We don't get frogs often in the animal decks. So yeah, we have such a great variety. And a dragon as well. So yeah. It is an amazing deck. I love it so much. It's really great. The only fault I can find is the size of the cards. But it is what it is. I hope one day they publish a pocket version. That would be amazing. Last but not least, it is one of my oldest oracle decks. So this is the Druid Animal Oracle. I keep them together with the Druid Plant Oracle, which is also gorgeous. They work together really well, so that's why I keep them together. I trimmed mine. Not the best trimming that I've ever done, but it's good enough. I love these borders here, but it came with wide borders around again, so I don't need double borders. This one is amazing as well. I mean, the guidebook is just great. The meanings for the cards are related to Druidism and just the Celtic and Pagan lore, I'm gonna say. It is just gorgeous, you know. The Will Warrington's work is just gorgeous. I have all his decks, I think. I believe I have all his decks. And yeah, it's just amazing. So I love this one. This one is very raw. Again, it would work really well with the Brady Tarot, just because it has the same rawness about it. I'm gonna show you an example in the guidebook. let's see, which animal should we choose? Maybe let's choose and yeah, you have 3 or 4 different dragons. So earth, fire, air, and water. Earth, fire, air, water. Yeah, 4 different dragons, which I really appreciate. Let's do the horse, because the horse is one of my spirit animals as well. So the guidebook is amazing. First of all, it's amazing, amazing, amazing. You have the animals all here in the alphabetical order, and then the page you can find the animal. Well, you also have keywords, which is really helpful. If you just want, oh, there's no keywords, so you can just go here and quickly find your keywords, you know, which is really helpful. That's one thing I wish this deck had, was a keyword next to the animal. But again, the pictures are so vibrant and rich, and they show not just a picture of a horse, but there's things happening. And you also have plants on the cards, which again, if you have this deck, you can then also go in the guidebook and read about the plant that you see, which is amazing. So anyway, horse. So you can see here, you get a lot, right? You have the keywords, you have explanation of the card, like the history of the card, you have the spirit of the card, you have the reverse meaning of the card, and then you have the tradition of the horse. So you will have the history about the horse and what it means and what it represents and how it has been seen in the history, etc. So it's really good, and it's all the context of the animal in the Druidism or / Celtic traditions. So it's amazing. I really like it. You have pronunciations of the words here, and then here you have, on the last few pages, you have the animal, Gaelic name, and keywords again, and then also pages, which is also cool. This is an amazing deck. So this is the last deck I wanted to show you. Let me show you how it shuffles. I can't really show you the riffle shuffle because my trimming was not the best, let's be honest. So I can do it this way, I suppose. But I don't riffle shuffle this deck, just because when you don't trim it well, it just will not riffle shuffle like you want it to. I will leave you with that. Please let me know in the comments below, which animal decks do you have? Which animal decks do you love? What are your thoughts about the decks that I showed you today? And yes, I will see you in my next collection video, which is probably going to be on my Rider-Waite-Smith clones or heavily Rider-Waite-Smith inspired decks. I hope that you have a wonderful day, night, evening, morning, wherever you are on this beautiful planet, and I will see you again soon. Bye bye.